Howdy, folks. What's going on tonight? How's everybody doing out there? This is the Outlaw Hatfield, and I'm supposed to have a guest here tonight. The Crazy Scotsman supposed to be here. He's running a little bit late, so we're going to see what happens there. I'm thinking it's one of those time zone issues again. We got to get that worked out. We've got to figure out a way to get that problem solved. All you people that don't live on the East Coast need to understand that we don't all share your time zones. Yeah. What can you do? Suffer through it, I guess. So, I've been a busy guy today. I spent a little bit of money here and there, and bought myself a new toy. I've been a. I No, he'll be here. He's just probably gonna be a little late. He's got the links to get in here, so Jan is gay. You want a link? Certainly will post you a link. You were supposed to be on here originally as well, so that's par for course. Uh, let's see. Your link is sent, Jan. I do hope you get that whole name thing worked out by the end of the month, by the way. But anyway, back to my little story. I woke up this morning, tax money had arrived, and a thought went through my head. What am I going to do with this? And I had been saying that I was going to buy that GP 100, that 7-shot GP 100. And that is exactly what I did today. I made the purchase, so I should have that sometime next week. But I went a step further, I bought a holster for it, and two speed loaders. So my anti alligator equipment is on its way. Phoenix, blaming Mohawk Boy is getting kind of old. And besides that, I don't think it's really him. I think it's his master and commander, P11. That's the troublemaker. That's the guy behind the scenes you got to watch out for. Speaking of that, let's see who all's in here. We have Janice Gay, Gary, Midnight. Andrew is out there. How you doing, Andrew? Who else do we have sliming around through here? Any more Travi? I don't see any as of yet. Phoenix is out there. What's going on, Phoenix? No, I don't owe Night Strike any money, Midnight. Over on the gun channel size, we have Jimmy James, Gary, Night Strike, Raphael, Scott, and Robbie. How are you guys doing? Looks like G Webs was in there a few minutes ago and popped out. Hmm, what's he saying here? You've got your own show. You've got your own chat now, E. Thank you, G Webs. That's wonderful news, actually. I've been using Night Strikes for so long. Uh, not that I mind using Night Strikes, but my show is not hit or miss. It's hit or hit, as long as I've got a guest. Uh, I did email you the link. Let's see. Let's try that again. Let's see. And I am sending you the link again. There it is for the second time. Chris Vector. Rich White's out there. Now, my question is who is Chris Vector? Somebody who's just trying to get a rise out of me, I'm sure. It sounds like something Ghost would do. but I could be very wrong about that. There's so many of you assholes in the world. Um, but yeah, I bought the GP 100. Bought some equipment to go with it. Still haven't purchased ammunition. So, Rich White, everybody likes you.
You
Never
never
know.
know. You never know there, Ellis. That might be another one of my channels.
It could possibly be. Like I said, there's a lot of you assholes out there. Where is your co-host?
He is probably either still at work or on his way back. He's a dedicated individual that busts his ass every day, and so he does sometimes work pretty late.
Yeah, he's at the gun shop, huh? Or was? See, I wouldn't consider that work. To me, that would be like that'd be heavy.
Yeah, he is a site manager for a gun range, gun store. Um, it's a pretty big facility, large operation, and so he's taken a wounded duck under his wing, and he's building it up and getting ready for it to fly south eventually. No, I'm just kidding. No, um, he's doing a lot of work and shaping up a pretty nice facility, but he puts in a lot of hours, man.
Well, you know what though, if you want to make something out of it, you got to be able to put the time and effort into getting there. So I can't fault him for that, and I won't hold it against him.
Well, and tell you honestly, if I worked at a gun range, gun store, I would probably be doing the same thing. I would just be
I would
dedicating all kinds of time there.
I would be setting up a cot. Okay, it's just I'd have to find a place to put a shower and a microwave. If I had a girlfriend or wife, I'd be calling her, "Look, honey, I ain't coming home tonight. I'm staying with my one true love."
Yeah,
Uh,
if you want to come stay in shooting range 3, then come on down. But I ain't leaving the facility tonight.
yeah, pretty much. Yeah, she's wouldn't have much of a relationship there. I don't think. She might get tired of it real unless you get lucky to find one who's as gun crazy as we are. Now that
No,
would have its possibilities.
yeah, Phoenix. I just got to point out, no, I'm not. It's just a very good mic.
Yeah, my mic is crap. It's a cheap little thing, but it works. So I
And
will not be replacing it anytime soon.
it really doesn't work too bad at all. You're a lot clearer than some of the guys out there.
I think it was like $6 for this thing. It's a skull candy, a little cheap skull candy, and it does pretty good. It really does pretty good.
Well, I've been using a Blue Yeti, and it was free. So yeah, there's that.
Free is always good, and you never complain about free. One of these days, I'm going to collect some free firearms, and I'm really going to be a happy man.
Oh yeah, anything for free's for me. I'll take 3.
Free is good. Free is wonderful. If Scotsman said Ellis had a nice body, we would hold it against. Probably not. No. We see that's the kind of trick question that gets people in trouble. But no, I wouldn't hold it against him. Certainly not.
The
See,
midnight range, it didn't happen on video, so it didn't happen. I'm telling you right now.
yeah,
If it doesn't happen on video, it didn't happen.
yeah, pretty much. Yeah, Midnight shows up on my chats every night, and he is always trying to take that first spot that somebody always beats him. Today it was you. You were actually the first one in. So When is he?
Gizzard was the actual first one to post. So
Was he? I thought it was you. I can check. Hold on a minute.
yep,
No, it was. No,
Gizzard was the top. Gizzard was the
Gizzard.
top.
Gary was first. You go, Gary. You the man. See, I wasn't paying attention, Gary. I'm sorry. I owe you an apology. And
That's because you spent too much on your latest toy. What were you talking about there?
oh, that GP 100. You know what? I actually found it for a pretty damn good deal. I was going to get it from Grab a Gun. They had it for $5.99, and then they sold out. That's my luck. But I found it. Shoot, where was it that I found it? Before I tell you a lie, Sportsman's Outdoor Superstore, and they had it for $6.29, free shipping. I jumped on that. I thought that was a pretty damn good deal right there, considering everywhere I've seen it go from 100 or 647 up to some people's wanting almost $800 for it. So
Size barrel on that thing.
it's got a 4.2 inch barrel.
Oh, nice.
Yep. Well, I could have went with a 2.5, but I don't want anything that short in a 357, or I could have went with a 6-inch, and that's just about 2 inches too long, if you know what I mean. I think a 4-inch barrel is about right for a 357, especially if it's something you intend on carrying, which is the intended purpose for this pistol. And yes, I called it a pistol. Back when I was young, they were all called pistols. There was no separation between revolvers and semi-autos. A semi-auto was a semi-auto, and a revolver was a revolver, and they were both considered pistols.
Yeah, same thing here. I'm on that same page. They were called pistols. They were called handguns. It didn't matter if it was a revolver, semi-auto. It was a pistol or a handgun.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Well, I just got a message from the guy I bought the holster from today. Oh. What's he telling me? Oh, sorry, man, they're out of stock. What? Don't do that to me. I'm doing a live show. That'd be bad, very bad.
Well, I mean, you've seen some of the bad things that I've done on live shows anyway. So,
oh well, yeah, well, yeah, yes. Let's see. Here's the thing: if you're gonna pay for something, you want it to be there when you send the money. That's always a plus in my book. I have had a hell of a time trying to find the right holster for this thing. So,
well, I tell you what, on the last foreign and domestic, we had one heck of a time, man. It was an absolutely phenomenal experience to see a lot of the gun community come together and for an absolutely phenomenal cause.
So I missed that show. So exactly what was going on?
Well, I'll fire up my camera here for just a minute, and you can pretty much see what happened during foreign and domestic.
Oh,
okay. So that's just one thing that happened on foreign and domestic.
You didn't shave anything else off, but And if you did it on camera, we don't want to know about it.
It did happen on camera. That happened live. I had a little giveaway video that not very many people understood. And so I had 3 entries into that video and gave that prize away. And then I commenced to what happened is we've been doing some efforts for CMAX Arms, a fellow YouTuber here who's battling with cancer. And there's a massive raffle going on At this point, I think it has 5 or 6 different firearms in it, complete AR upper. I'm donating some AR 500 2 half silhouette targets from Hard Target Steel. There's just massive things in the large raffle. But another one of the things that was happening was CMAX Arms was doing a flash raffle, and I'm not sure if that's still going on or not, for one of his own pistols. And so I had made the dedication of shaving my beard and my head live on YouTube if we got within $2,000 of the Crazy Scotsman's goal. And we hit that. And so I shaved my head and my beard live on YouTube. That was preceded by a number of other giveaways, a number of other people dedicating their beards, their heads, their goatees. Ultimately, we've had like 6 people shave their heads for the effort. It was a 3.5-hour show, and we raised almost $1,000 an hour during that show for CMAX Arms.
You know what? Congratulations, man. The hair grow back, but I'm sure that you have a sense of pride about you right now that's just unbelievable. Congratulations.
It's a minuscule thing to be able to do for the man. CMAX is an absolutely great guy. He's helped out tons and tons of people out here on YouTube, and he's one of the greats out there. And we're doing everything that we can to help him and his family try to get through this, and we're battling right next to him. We're battling with him. So it was for an absolutely phenomenal cause, and I can care less about my hair. If it helps CMAX and his family at all, I would do it again and again and again.
You know what? I missed that show, and now I'm sort of sorry I did. I'm going to have to go back and rewatch that one. That I don't normally like to watch the things that's not live or after they've been filmed, because I like to see what's said in the chats, and to me that's just part of the show. But that one I might have to go back and rewatch.
We had one Wheelchair Warrior was also in the chat with us that evening, and he set a benchmark and said, okay, if we reach this much, and it's all going towards you carrying, and so nobody's touching a penny of the money, and every single bit of it is going to CMAX. But Wheelchair Warrior said that if we reach this part of a goal, we hit this certain mark, I will shave Vanilla Ice stripes into my eyebrows. And the man did not hesitate. Just as soon as we hit that mark, he busted out the beard trimmer and put Vanilla Ice cuts into his eyebrows. Just phenomenal people out here, man. Yeah, it was a really good show, and it was a 3.5 hour show. But it's worth rewatching for some of the comedic value, and to really see that us gun people out here, we don't, we've got heart, to put it mildly.
And I think that's what people don't understand about us, in general, the Second Amendment people in this country. It's not that we don't care. We do care. We care tremendously, but we also care about not only human issues, but our personal rights. And I don't know what it is about certain people that think that, well, we're just evil, gun loving, gun toting, you know, vigilantes wanting to go out and just commit mass murder. But uh, we do care. We care about, life. We care about people. We don't want to see anybody of any race, religion, or color go through anything bad, and a lot of us go out of our way to help. But people on the left don't want to hear that. They don't want to see that. They don't want that information out there because we're the outcast, and that's where they want to keep us.
Yeah, precisely. They want to call us gun-toting rednecks or whatever. They want to put a certain stigmatism on gun owners, and it's not the way that it is. It really isn't. They want to portray us in a certain light in the national media, and it's not the way that it actually is. You know,
Nope, it certainly isn't. I mean, I have myself went to bat for people. I've helped a lot of people out, and I never asked anything back for it. Never asked anything in return for it. Don't expect anything back for it. It's just that when you hear people talk about how, evil and misguided we are, and then you see the crap that they do, it makes you take a step back and go, huh? And we're the bad guys, you know. You on one hand they're talking about how worthless we are, on the other hand they're down in our military. Where's the common sense in that? We support the military, we support people who are sick, we support this, we support that, and yet we're the outcast. We're the ones that's always going to get the. It's sort of like the smokers back in the '90s. Remember that? It's, ooh, you smoke. Well, let's just make sure you can't do it around us. We're going to outlaw all that. So now you have to go outside and smoke. And same thing with guns. That's it's ridiculous. But we are good people. We do what we can to help anybody and everybody. Um, and most of us has not even met one another face to face. And I have no doubt in my mind that if any one of us got down and out and needed help, the rest of us would be right there to help. We'd jump on it. Whether it's you or Ghost or Clover or Matt or G Webs, any of you got sick, got down and out. The rest of us would pick up the slack. We'd do what we could.
Yeah, that's a very valid point. We've got a pretty large community out here, and I started seeing all these smaller groups in one corner of YouTube, one corner of gun channels, one corner of this area, one corner of that area, and so I've tried to introduce a lot of different people to a lot of different people, just to try to get some of these groups together. And I have yet to actually be on YouTube for over a year making videos. And at this point, I can positively say that I can go almost anywhere in this country and have somewhere that I can crash on a couch for a weekend if I had to. There's just absolutely phenomenal people in our communities out here, in our gun toting communities out here. So it was very humbling to see how so many people came together for CMAX to help this guy get treatments.
So, how much total has been raised at the time it's been?
Well, last I checked, and I'll have to pull up the link. But last I checked, his U carrying was a little over 15,000. Now,
Damn.
we're talking about small cell cancer here. 15,000 if you're lucky is 2 treatments of chemotherapy. But we can only do what we can do, and it was actually absolutely phenomenal what the community has done so far. Yeah.
Absolutely. Do you have a link we can post out in the lobbies to maybe support that a little,
Um,
add funds to it?
yeah, actually, I'm digging that up right now.
If you find it, you let me have it. I will post it out in the lobby, both sides, and there's some good folks in here. We'll see what we can do.
The the problem that I've been having whenever I get the link is it doesn't work directly once it's posted in the side chat. You have to copy and paste it in order for it to work. But if you go into youcaring.com, youcaring.com, and look up Chris Maxwell, you'll be able to find C-Max very, very well, because his immediate picture that pulls up has got a Ruger banner in the background. I'll actually share this for just a moment here. His page will actually have a Ruger sharing in the background. Currently, he's sitting at 15,454. And yes, it does appear that he's met his entire goal. This is something that the Crazy Scotsman set out when he very first found out about this. Is Chris was originally C-Max was originally looking to do a $7,000 raise, and the Crazy Scotsman, being the bold, crazy guy that he is, he said, "We're going to double that goal for C-Max." He said it from the get-go, and last foreign and domestic, he was bound and determined that we were going to beat that goal by the end of the night.
And you did.
Hey, Alice, I'm sorry I'm late, brother. I got stuck in a meeting at work. I apologize, guys.
Well, we were discussing that. If we did what you did for a living, we'd probably never be home on time. So it's okay. you are perfectly welcome. Ladies and gentlemen, I am posting that link as we speak on both the Gun Channel side and the YouTube side. Like he said, you'll have to copy it and paste it if it don't work. And it's not really a big deal. Instead of tapping one button, you'll have to click it twice. You copy it and then you paste it. It's not rocket science. But let's see if we can get C-Max a little more help. And you know what? Let's take it a step further. If you got a Facebook page or a Twitter account, Instagram, post it there too. Let's get this guy some help. Let's see what we can do to raise some funds for him.
Yeah, just putting it out there makes a big difference. Sharing it makes a huge difference.
Yeah, I was gonna say the amount of shares almost doubled overnight during the last show and that we did, and that's a huge part as to why the goal was met and why it's so high and why it's past where my goal was, let alone Chris's goal, is just because people keep sharing and keep driving it home. For me, after meeting the guy and spending time with the guy and talking to him and shooting with him, and it was even set up on the chat. He brought stuff to give it to people. He didn't have to bring anything. He brought all kinds of shit. I walked away with 1,000+ cases of 44 Magnum to reload. He didn't have to give me that. He didn't have to bring anything. He did, but he wanted people to have stuff. He wanted to do stuff for people at the shoot, and that was phenomenal. He's a great guy, a very, very humble guy. You know, he's a family man, and the only thing he's trying to do, guys, is not only live and survive, but take care of his family and keep him in a house. It's not just a battle in cancer that we're fighting here. We're fighting to make sure he stays in the house, keeps his house, and his family stays safe.
Yeah, even if there's people that do want to share it, please do. If you can't donate, share it, please. We've got the hashtag Save CMAX going around as well. That's another great avenue to help with the cause. And yeah.
Yeah, every share helps. If you guys can donate, please do. $10 gets you an entry into a multitude of giveaways. It's not just the flash raffle. It is all the other guns that we got in there. We got Brado 92 Brigadier. We got a Taurus PT 111. We got a Grand Power P1 GP 100 or 100 or something like that. I forget what it is. You know, we got an FNS 9. We got a AR upper, steel targets, reloading supplies, a ratchet tool, and a very expensive one. That thing, I looked it up. That guy's worth like $150. All kinds of stuff. There's way more than what I can remember. There's a ton of shit. I mean, I got a list long that sits on my office desk at home where I'm at right now. And trust me, it's a long ass list. There's a lot of shit just for donating $10. And you know, if you can donate more, obviously please do. But if you just donate $10, that gets you that entry.
Yeah, an EEA 357 Windicator. What is there 5 or 6 pistols now in this?
There's 6 pistols, and then the AR upper. Yeah, it's just ridiculous. There's so much shit that literally $10 to get you. And I have a mystery thing going in there too. I haven't even told anyone what that is. But I did announce on the show that I would throw in a mystery gift if we hit that goal. And we hit that goal. So trust me, there's another prize going in there too.
Yeah, I was going to kind of step on the bagpipe a little bit to see if I was going to get any wind out of you on that one tonight, Scotsman.
Not a single person is going to know what that is until we do that giveaway.
Everybody tune in. Listen, guys, if you can't afford to give the $10, you know, $1, $5, it all adds up. So if you can't give the 10, give what you can. I'm making a proclamation right now as of tonight, right after this show. I'm going to be donating 20 myself. So there you go.
Thank you, man. I really appreciate that.
I will be putting $20 on it myself. So there you have it.
Bald and Curious. Some of you may or may not know. Bald and Curious is the one that's running the main raffle for that. So if you go over to Bald and Curious's channel, there's a video there, and he includes his email, and you just screenshot your receipt and shoot it to him, and that puts you in.
But I challenge everybody else out there to at least, you know, do 5. Challenge everybody to do at least 5 if you can't do the 10. So let's do what we can, guys. You know, let's become the community that we keep saying that we are. You know, don't let me down.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
you know, I'm just gonna throw this out there too, real quick, before we move on. You know, I even, my boss asked me the other day, and I only have the one boss. He's the owner of the company. He asked me, you know, why the fuck are you bald? Why are you shaved? And I was like, well, it was for helping raise money, man. And He's like, well, why the fuck didn't you tell me before? And fucking donated right there and then. You know, it goes beyond just the community we have here. When people find out, they jump in and they help.
So there you have it, folks. But not that I don't like this conversation, this particular topic, but let's move on, ladies and gentlemen. Crazy Scotsman, tell us about your day. What did you do today? How's your day been?
Well, today was a busy day. This is my one day off a week. Even though I had to go in for a work meeting, it's still my one day off a week. And I basically took care of bills and cleaning up, and that was pretty much my day, man. Running all the errands I don't get to run the rest of the week.
You work at a shooting range / gun shop. That's not work. That's a holiday. What's that old saying? If you do what you love, you never work a day in your life. I bet you're a happy man.
It's an awesome job. I'm not gonna lie, it is an awesome job. My previous jobs were pretty awesome. This one's a little bit more awesome because I answer to one person and one person only, and that's me.
I mean, there's a number of reasons why I'm jealous of the Scotsman's job, but one of the reasons is the dude gets to carry all day long at work, no problem. I have to take my firearm off for work, and it's atrocious, and I absolutely hate it. He can walk around with his 357 outside, just do. It's just another day at work.
Don't forget the 44.
Oh, how can you forget about the big bore?
See, now you're speaking Bob's language now, 44 Magnum.
There's nothing like walking around with a 44 mag on your hip.
You know what? I'd have to take it a step further. I'd have the 44 on my hip and the 12 gauge strapped across my back. I can do this. Let's do it. Let's do it. Come on.
I don't want to completely scare all my customers.
Well, see, if you're getting the right customers, that's not going to scare them. That's just going to make them want to come back.
Well, you get some new people that come in all the time though, and you got to be careful, man. New people freak out.
Oh my God!
You don't want to scare off new people to the gun community.
Yeah, I see the point. But you know,
they already see us as a bunch of crazy redneck wackos, you know. So
and when you got a name like the Crazy Scotsman, and they walk into your store, and you got to make sure you don't get too crazy.
Well, I'm sure they don't call you the Crazy Scotsman at work, or do they?
Some do. Some do.
I want to go out there, and who do I need to talk to? See that crazy spur over there? The one that killed? Go talk to him. He'll help you out.
Some of the questions and some of the things that people have come in and asked me are just bewildering me sometimes. It really does. And you will see all kinds of crazy shit in a range. And in the gun store itself, I mean, in the gun store, don't get me wrong, in my previous jobs, I was in a gun store and I ran gun stores. But no, I'm running a gun store and a range at the same time. You see all kinds of crazy shit in that range. From new shooters to boyfriends or husbands trying to teach their wife how to shoot, and they have no fucking clue what they're doing. And guns going up in the air, the fucking lines being shot down, hangers being shot down. Like, dude, where are you putting your muzzle? Have some muzzle control. But trust me, I charge every son of a bitch that shoots some of my shit down. You come to my range, you pay for what you shoot down.
My question is if the target is in front of you, why are you shooting so high that it's going to hit anything?
Here's the one that I love the most that gets me, and it's happened 3 times in the last 2 weeks. They come in and they have no sights on their gun and expect to go shoot it.
Yeah, that I could see where that would drive you nuts. Let me ask you, what's the strangest thing that you've ever actually seen happen, other than that, seen happen at work?
Over the years, probably the one that got me the most over the years, and this is prior to this job, was an FBI agent comes in looking to get a holster and tries to tell me that he does not have to unload his weapon, and he just wants to take it out and put it in that holster. And I had to try and explain to the guy, look, dude, I don't care who you are. You're on private property, and you have to follow our rules. And you're not on the clock. He flashed his badge at me, and I'm like, dude, I don't give a shit. And it got to the point where literally I had to threaten an FBI agent that I would jump over the counter and beat the shit out of him if he drew his gun, because he refused to empty it.
Now, let me ask you another question. What is the craziest gun-related question you've ever had asked or questions?
Oh, shit.
Yeah, I know. I'm opening a can of worms here.
Boy, that isn't a loaded question.
Kinds of shit. Oh my god, I can't even pick one because there's so many. Like, geez, dude, that's a can of worms right there.
This is why Outlaw is so good at doing these interview live shows. He can pull questions like this out of thin air that are just like bam.
And I don't write this shit down. Like I said, I do this freeform. Every question I ask comes right off the top of my head. How many times has somebody come in with a gun, blade on a counter, and said, "How do you load this?" A Glock. How do you load this?
I can tell you, I've had a gun drawn on me. I'll just throw a number out there, and it's probably fairly accurate. I would say at least 100 or more times I've had a gun drawn on me and said, "How much can you pay me for this?" And there's one in the chamber.
Oh, brother.
I will pay you
at least 100 times.
You point that goddamn gun at me.
And every single time it's happened, I've told them, reholster that firearm right fucking now. Just put the damn gun away. You gotta go outside, empty the gun, come back, and we'll talk. Until then, fuck off my property.
Yeah, I have taken guns to gun shops to sell them, and every time I've done it, they've been in a case. I might have a gun on my hip, but I've got the one I'm wanting to sell in a case. Normally the case it came with. Hey, look, how much you give me for this?
We do have a question in the side chat. As much as I hate to give Midnight Range TM any fucking airtime,
oh god,
he does ask a valid question, and the question is do we inspect the weapons prior to people shooting? So if people bring in an AR, for example, we inspect their ammunition because you cannot shoot steel core, Wolf, Tula, Green Tip, Armor Piercing, any of that kind of shit. So we always inspect their ammunition. And if they have an AR, yes, we actually check the AR to make sure it has sights, because we're not letting them on there without freaking sights, which has happened in the last three times in the past 2 weeks where they've come in without sights. You ain't shooting on my range with no sights.
Okay, when you say sights, I'm figuring you're talking they didn't have iron sights or a red dot or anything on that thing.
They had nothing on it. I'm talking bare rail.
Not even a front sight.
Nope, not even a front post. Nothing. Not a thing.
Lord have mercy. Did you explain to them that this is not a shotgun?
Yes, I explained to them that in order for you to be able to shoot here, you have to have sights, because you can't just point it and hope to God it goes in the same direction you're pointing.
Oh Lord. I had a friend back home that used to own a gun shop, and this is in West Virginia, so you can imagine the kind of people he got in there. But on a daily basis, there'd be somebody bringing in one rifle with a round stuck in it that did not belong there. A 270 and a 30-30. And somebody
I
thought
had a
that was a
good
good
one
idea.
yesterday. I had a guy walk off the line and bring his firearm to the floor with a round stuck in it. Like, dude, you should have stayed out there with it pointed down range. What if it's
And
a slow cooking round?
or have somebody else run out there and get somebody for help.
Yep.
Oh Lord, it makes you wonder. Yeah, and I guess I take it for granted because I've been around guns all my life. I mean, literally, my dad was a coal miner, but he was a part-time gunsmith and a good one. The one thing I wished I'd picked up from him, but didn't. Um, and when I remember when we were kids, my mom, as you walked to the front door, there was a picture of Jesus on the wall straight in front of the door, and on every other wall in the house. And then we got to remember this was in the 70s and early 80s. Was these old wooden gun racks, and they were all plumb full of various rifles and shotguns. And as you go on back through the house, there's more walls with more these gun racks. It got to the point where mom forced dad to build a separate room onto the house just for the guns. And then he actually took that room and added a smaller room to it and put a cot in it so the local uh, state troopers could come instead of staying at the barracks, they could stay at the house. So I've been around guns all my life, and when people do things like try to shoot a gun without a sight, I just where in any brain cell do you have does that make any kind of sense? It's just. But I realize that not everybody has been around guns their whole life, so some of these people never shot a gun before. So they really don't understand the necessity of these things.
Yeah, and it doesn't matter how many times they watch the video or how many times you tell them. Like, for example, when people come in, if you've never shot there before, if you've never been in there, we have to have you watch a safety video, fill out a waiver, and we give you a basic rundown. Eyes and ears before you go in the first door, because if someone opens that second door, you're going to hear it. Make sure when you're taking your firearms out of the case that you do it at the firing line. You don't do it on the back bench and try to transfer it over. Not allowed, period. Make sure when you go to recase your firearms, you're taking your case to the firing line and recase your firearm. Every fucking goddamn day, someone tries to open the first door without their ears on, without their eyes on, or when they're at the firing line, to take the gun and try to turn around, spin around with the freaking gun in their hand to go back to the bench. Every day it happens. No matter how many times you punch it in their heads, they do not listen.
Now, have you ever sat out there and just watched people and just cracked up laughing at some of the crap they were doing?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I I watched someone yesterday, for example. He was a new shooter, so I'm not gonna laugh at him too much. But he was a new shooter, and I give him props. He was trying hard. He came in, brand new shooter. Hey, this is what I want to try. I want to do this. Give me a box of ammo, and walked him through the basics. Sent him out there. Had the RSO out there. Let him know, hey, this guy's new. Keep an eye on him. And I'm watching him through the window, just on general. Every now and then I check on things to make sure it's going okay. And I happen to look through there, and he's got his thumb over thumb. And I'm just waiting for that slide bite, just waiting for it. And one of the funniest things you will see is communication between the person on the outside and the RSO on the inside, because we're talking through the window. And so it's kind of like a sign language that we built together. And it's funny as hell because he'll be talking with his lips, but you really can't fucking hear what he's saying, obviously, because there's two rooms between them. So you see his lips moving, and he's doing these different hand signals. So you got to try and filter out what the hand signals are, and then go back and be like, okay, this is what he's talking about. I can kind of make it out, and then go back and say something else, and do the same thing with hand signals in order to try and get your point across as to what to do. And it gets pretty hilarious sometimes.
Now, I tell you what happened to me. I was with a kid. He was shooting, never shot a gun before in his life. He was young, 13, 14 years old, maybe. And at this point in time, we were shooting I had an XD 9mm, or no, it was a 45. That one was a 45. And I told him, I says, now look, this, he had his ears on, his eyes on, he's well protected. And he was figuring that he wasn't going to hear anything in the world out of this gun because he had his ears plugged. Well, if anybody's ever shot a gun realizes that that's not the case. You actually do hear through that earplug. He shot this thing and instantly dropped my gun. And he looked at me like I had slapped him. I just simply walked over there, picked up the gun. He looked at me and says, "That was loud." I said, "Well, what did you expect? It's a gun." He says, "But it's not that loud on TV." And that's exactly what he said. And I just could not help myself. I busted out laughing. I was like, "Oh dear God, no!" And apparently that's where these people get their knowledge from firearms this day and age, is from television.
It is big time. I hate when people call it a silencer. It's not a silencer. It's a suppressor. Because
exactly.
it does not take all the sound away. It reduces the amount of sound, but you still have a lot of sound coming through there. And then you still have the crack. You still have the sound of whatever it's hitting if you're shooting steel, for example. But that crack alone, depending on what caliber you're shooting, could be loud enough to be over that decibel level where you still need ears.
What about you, Alan? What's been some of your experiences at shooting ranges or what have you?
I've seen some of the most dumbest stuff happen at shooting ranges. I've got a local state range just outside of my little town, and I was actually over there a couple of weeks ago, and this guy pulls up in his lifted up camoed out Jeep, and he gets out, and I swear this guy just jumped off the 9 Line website, wearing his Solomon boots and everything. Freaking, he's just like tactical dude out. He gets up there. He gets up onto the line, and of course he pulls his Glock out of his bag, and he goes to start loading it. And I'm watching this dude out of the corner of my eye. I don't even have my head turned, but I'm watching him out of my peripheral. And I literally had to turn, and I said, "Having problems there?" He's like, no, I got it. He didn't know which way the bullets went in the magazine.
And they don't teach you that on TV. They don't teach you that one on TV.
I mean, the guy, he's got like these competition holsters set up on his belt, and it's all like drop thigh rig and everything else. But you can't draw from a holster at this range. But he put all this stuff on before he pulls this Glock 19 out of his bag. And I mean, you could tell he was completely unfamiliar with the weapon entirely. Couldn't even figure out which way the bullets went in the magazine.
Well, that sort of reminds me of another story. I was at a shooting range one time, And this guy was there. I don't know who he was, but he was bragging about shooting his shotgun one-handed. He had a Mossberg 500 or Maverick something, and and this is all making a big deal. Oh, you can't shoot that one-handed. Well, he had some birdshot in it, I guess, and he fired the first one, no problem, one-handed. He was fine, you know. But anybody that's ever shot a shotgun knows that birdshot ain't got a whole lot of pile to it. It's just there. What they didn't tell him was his next shot was a slug. And he tried it with a slug, and the gun flew back, topped him on the top of the head, and I like to laugh my ass off. And he was cussing, ranting, and raving. And I said, "Well, you got to understand something. It's a shotgun. It's not meant to be shot one-handed to begin with. Secondly, you don't take somebody's gun and trust what they tell you is in it. You check, you make sure, you verify."
Well, that's something that my dad used to do. My dad would load his 357, but he would load a bunch of 38s into it, and then he would load one hot 357 into it, and just in random. And so, we'd bang, bang, boom. but it taught me a very valuable lesson as a kid. And it helped me to learn not to flinch when pulling a trigger, and just grip it like grim death, no matter what shot you're taking.
One of the biggest things you'll learn in the firearms industry is trust but verify.
Always verify.
You can tell me what you believe is in there, but I'm going to take a look and make sure for my goddamn self before I pull that trigger.
Yeah, my dad and his buddies used to get a kick out of, oh, here, shoot this. And he'd give it to one of us boys. And, they always got a kick out of it. But you don't do that with new shooters. But we weren't new shooters by that point. We were still kind of young, but we weren't new shooters by any means.
Well, I don't know how old either one of you are. I mean, I'm 45 years old, so I can go back a ways here. But when I was a kid, when I'm talking,
Ellis, what does the other side of the hill look like?
It's a dark, dark, lonely road. And when I was a kid, there was no such thing as eyes and ears. You didn't wear safety glasses. You didn't wear hearing aid or hearing protection. You just didn't do it. It will, nobody gave it a second thought.
You don't need hearing protection. You're fine up to 50 caliber. Trust me, I verified this.
But
yeah, as long as you're standing behind the gun, you're all right.
Yeah, when you're beside it, it's when you're standing beside it that there's a problem there. But throughout my whole life, up until I guess I was 15, 16 years old, and everybody was starting, ears and eyes, ears and eyes, ears and eyes. You never used that stuff. It was, it wasn't even considered necessary. And the first time I was standing in front of my buddy Ronnie with shooting glasses on and, hearing protection, he looked at me like I said, "Yeah, what the hell are you doing?" I said, "Well, you're supposed to wear shooting glasses and earplugs to protect your eyes and your hearing." He says, "Oh, hell, fuck that." He grabs his gun. He just starts blasting away. My ears are ringing. Mine ain't. And it's amazing how the firearms industry has changed the way we think about safety when it comes to these things. When you guys were kids, what was the first safety rules you were taught?
Well,
that's a tough one.
As a kid, I was taught the regular safety rules. The earliest rule that I remembered was my great aunt kept her service pistol. She was a police officer, and she kept it on her nightstand. And the earliest time I ever got told anything about a firearm was that particular pistol, and was told, not only do you not touch it, but if you sneeze too close to it, it will go off because the trigger on that thing is hair-like. But that's the earliest thing I can remember.
The earliest thing for me is, unfortunately, back home, it's very hard to have firearms. So I didn't really get around the firearm until I started working on the farm, which is when I was 12. And my boss, he had a 12 gauge double side by side. And the rule was right off the bat, don't touch it, don't look at it, don't even breathe on it, period. You're not allowed to touch it unless I give it to you.
Now, that was pretty much the same rule that we had in our house, because but it's not like today. You knew what the guns were, and you knew the difference between a toy gun and a real gun at a very early age. You knew not to touch the real things, and if you got caught touching the real things, you was gonna wear an ass kicking. Period. And back then, ladies and gentlemen, if you're not old enough to understand this, when they said they was going to kick your ass, that's exactly what mommy and daddy meant. You were going to wear an ass kicking.
Or if you worked on a farm like I did and worked for an ex-SAS, trust me, when he says he's going to give you an ass kicking, it's going to be an ass kicking.
Pretty much, yeah. It's and you avoided that like the plague.
Yeah, it definitely hurt when you got a horizontal crack in your ass.
Oh yeah,
coming from Jan is gay.
Yeah. Well, I didn't even think about that. You should enjoy that sort of thing, shouldn't you?
You would think so, but horizontal cracks are no good.
Sounds like you got some experience there, Chief.
And we just went down a rabbit hole I wasn't even sure I was going to go down tonight. Damn, how does that happen?
You invited Jan is gay.
No, but I was introduced to firearms really early, and it was demonstrated to me how you hold it, what each part does, and what the capability of its destructive factor was. My dad, my uncles, my dad's buddies, they did a very, very good job, in my opinion, of taking the curiosity factor out of it entirely.
And that's the key right there. Getting rid of the mystery behind it, the magic behind it. Once that's out of the way, you realize that it's not some kind of wand. It's just another tool. I'll never forget one of the lessons that I got taught early on. My dad decided he wanted to go squirrel hunting. Asked me if I wanted to go with him. First time. I said, yeah, sure. Out in the woods we go. Well, he sees a squirrel. He shoots the squirrel. The squirrel dies. And I can't remember how young I was, but I was young. And we walked up to it, and he peppered the hell out of this poor squirrel with a shotgun. And he looked at me and said, "Do you see that?" And I said, "Yeah." I said, "Well, if it'll do this to that squirrel, it will do the same thing to you." And that was an eye-opening experience for a kid. First time you've ever seen anything get killed as a child, and it's like, well, that put a long-lasting respect for guns and life in general in my head. So my dad wasn't the greatest individual in the world, but that was a lesson that I am very happy he taught me at a very young age. It's a hard lesson to learn at that age, but it's a necessary lesson, especially if you're going to have guns in your house. Show the kids what these things can do, and maybe they'll understand that they're not toys. They're not there to play. They have a specific job, and that's what they should be used for.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when I came into the States is when I really kind of got more into guns and the gun world itself. And I've been involved in it now for about 8 years, heavily. The first gun I ever fired was a 30-06. And then the second gun I fired was a 44 Magnum. And I love both cartridges.
The first gun I ever fired was I fired. It was either a 20 gauge or a 410 shotgun, and I was 3 or 4 years old. I remember Dad holding up the gun, at the stock so I could actually pull the trigger. And even that, it knocked me on my ass. It was rough, but I loved it. I wanted to do it again, and he just rolled and laughed. He says, "Yep, you're hooked." And I was. He wasn't lying. That started the love affair for guns that I have had ever since. So, what was your first gun experience, Alan? Or
Geez, I
excuse me,
can't even
game?
think right at the moment.
See, I keep calling you Alan. I'm sorry. I have to
Oh, that's
remember
quite
the whole
fine.
game.
3 days, I think.
Three days, and you were.
Even when the 3 days are up, you're still going to be Jana's gaze. So
You
you,
do
you,
realize that's not ever going away, right?
yeah, you did that to yourself, and you're stuck with it for life.
Yep. Yeah,
See,
I definitely shot myself in the foot on that, and I know it's gonna stick with me.
that's okay.
You shot
Max
yourself in
took
the
me with
foot. I'm pretty sure you shot yourself in the crack.
in the crotch. He shot himself in the crotch. That's what's that shirt Yankee had on in that one video? Something about don't shoot your or your cock off. Don't put your Glock on your cock. I think that's what you've done, brother. Literally.
Pretty much.
You put the Glock on your cock and then pull the trigger. Poor guy. It's okay though. Damn, we have been going at this for over an hour now. Let's see if there's any questions out here. Does anybody out in the lobby have a question for any of us? Let's see what we can get going here. That's not a rabbit hole, unfortunately. Hey, this is one of the few episodes where he haven't went down a ton of rabbit holes.
Well, Philo, ask a question. What you got, buddy? Shoot a question out there.
If you got a question, let us have it. Jam gave himself a horizontal butt crack and then shot himself in it.
Rich White, 100% right.
I like more put myself into a cannon and launched myself off.
Well, that's okay. I had my dear friend Never Enough Ammo hit me with a moniker the other night. I don't know if y'all caught that show, but he started calling me Ellis DeGeneres. And I have a feeling that one's going to stick too.
Oh, that's horrid.
Yeah, that's what I said. That's exactly what I said. He's a prick.
I mean, even though you guys'
he's a prick.
beards match and all, but I mean, that's horrid.
Can we not talk about beards?
Oh, wow. Well, what's wrong with beards? I mean, we all like beards around here.
There's nothing wrong with beards. I just don't have one.
Yeah. During the show, when we hit the $14,000 goal, the Crazy Scotsman, the scary bearded guy lost his beard.
Well, Phoenix says that calling me Ellis DeGeneres is better than the Outhouse Hatfield. Let's see, the Outhouse Hatfield ain't never going to catch on. That's something Midnight come up with, and Midnight's an idiot. Nobody listens to him anyway.
Yeah, whatever, Mohawk boy.
When Mohawk boy actually understands that nobody listens to him, we might be okay.
There's only one Mohawk boy, and I'm pretty sure it's not him. I'm pretty sure that's TR Prepper.
No, that's Mohawk Man.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's the upgrade. That's the upgraded version. His balls actually dropped.
Oh. Well, Midnight is apparently agreeing with you. His balls apparently has not dropped yet. And we're getting it from the horse's mouth. He says that's pretty true. So, as soon as your balls do drop, Midnight, we will welcome you to manhood.
Well, that does explain a lot.
It really does. Truly. Shots fired. The shots had been fired as soon as he became a Travi. He was born with a shot fired. Let's see. What's Gary saying over here on the gun channel side? Ellis, when are you shaving? No, you don't want to see me shave, brother. That's the last thing anybody wants to see me say. I shave this, and the ugly just oozes, and it scares small children and animals. We don't want that. We want to avoid that.
I've scared a lot of people the last few days. It's not pretty, Dan. It's not pretty.
We are trying to. They stay nice and warm. I don't even want to know what Midnight's talking about. Okay, we got any more questions out here? Let's see. Let's scroll up a little bit. We might find something worth commenting on, maybe. We have a pretty good audience tonight. Some individuals out there are better than others.
Well, Phoenix has a statement that Ghost looks like he's 12 when he shaves. Phoenix, you obviously have not seen the Crazy Scotsman without a beard.
And Ghost must have the smallest hands in the world. I mean, truly, he must have the smallest hands in the world. He sent me this Glock that I guess, I don't know what he wants me to do with it, but he sent me this Glock, and it looks like, it looks like it fit in a G.I. Joe's hand.
And I told you there, Ellis, that's one of those soak in water overnight Glocks. It grows in water overnight.
I tried it. Didn't work. I tried it. But I am going to make a video.
You must have got a bad Glock. Oh.
I'm going to make a video.
Hold on. Glock perfection, and there's a bad Glock?
Well, I'll tell you how perfect they are. They're perfectly fine as long as they belong to somebody else.
That's right. You can keep your Glocks.
I am not a Glock fan. My next semi-auto purchase will probably be a SIG. So, I've got to quit saying that shit on out loud on these shows, because every time I do, people bring it up on me. When are you buying it?
So you've picked up 2 firearms semi recently, and neither of them have been a Chris Vector.
Neither one, no.
Hold on. Before anyone says another word, save yourself the money. Don't waste your money on a Chris Vector.
Okay.
I've shot one, and they're extremely unreliable. Don't waste your money.
Well, he did actually get himself something nice. A GP 100.
Yes.
Can't go wrong with a GP 100.
And here's the thing: since December, I have bought no less than 4 firearms. So,
Rich White, no, I do not need to see his Glock. I'm good. I will pass. But thank you for the comment.
I've showed this thing off before, and every time I do, I feel like I need to go sanitize my hands. So, and it's so small, I keep losing it. I put it down and just forget about it. It's a Glock.
Just forget about it and never look at it, never pick it up again, and you'll be in good shape.
I can't do that as a gift. So I am going to make a video of me shooting this thing. So, or attempting to fire this thing.
Well, I'll tell you this: don't be surprised if I don't watch it. Don't take offense. It's nothing against you.
No. See,
it's only against.
Here it is. This is the Glock he sent me.
You're gonna have some problems trying to shoot that there, brother.
Yeah, I know. I think it's like a Glock 2.
Isn't that the .50?
Cheap. Yeah, I don't know. I have no clue. I can't get the slide to work. It's stuck.
I
It's
think
like
that's
affecting
the
my
I,
ass.
I think that's the .005.
Mm. Slide don't work. Can't get the mag to release.
Well, you don't need it
It's
to. It only holds one round.
okay. Well, I got to figure out how to put the one round in it.
It's already in it. It comes preloaded.
Okay. So
Actually, Outlaw, he did you a really, really big favor. That's the newest Glock on the market. It's called the Glock Snowflake.
Okay. So, but no, I'm going to keep it. I'm going to put it in a little place of honor after I do my little shooting video, and I will keep this for as long as I can remember where I put it. But yes, the next one I buy will be a SIG. So probably the 2022.
Any particular reason why?
No reason. It's just that's what I want. Same. It's the same thing with the Chris Vector. I've had people tell me that the Chris Vector is an awful gun. You don't want it. I don't care. I do want one. It's ugly, but there's something about it that I like. What is it that Nothing Fancy calls it? A second kind of cool. That's the effect it has on me.
They're just unreliable. I shot one. I put a few magazines through it, and they're just unreliable. I had multiple failures with very good ammunition. Multiple failures.
It's just it's a very unique looking weapon. I definitely give it that. It's an odd duckling.
It is, and the system itself is a unique system of how it operates. And I get it; it's cool, but not something I'm going to take to battle if I had to go to battle.
Actually, no. I have only watched the first 3 of the Resident Evil movies. Period. Phoenix. After that, I said, no, this sucks, and I haven't watched another one since. So there you have that. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. I'll tell you another gun that I'm seriously wanting to find one, but I want a good one. So I'm figuring Arsenal. And now that I've said Arsenal, you already know what I'm talking about. I'm wanting an AK. I've got ARs. I need an AK. So
I still need an AK. I don't have an AK yet. And I even talked to the man himself who knows everything about everything when it comes to AKs. And no, it was not Midas Welby. It was actually El Tenda Fabrizio. El Tenda Fabrizio knows just about everything and everything you could ever want to know about an AK-47. And I probably spent an hour on the phone with him and still cannot make up my mind as to what I want.
See, that's my. I've got this issue. I research the hell out of everything before I buy one. I mean, with a Vector, I know what I'm getting. I still want it. But it's like my SAR B6P. Love that little sumbitch. It eats everything I put through it. But if the people that actually owns them and shot them and has used them, they love them. And I've never found a negative review on that gun. But Mossberg 590 I just bought the other day. Same thing. If it's good enough for the military, I'm pretty sure it's good enough for me. And that's just the way I've always been. I will research it, and I'll look at something else, and I'll go back to this. It drives me crazy, and I know it's weird, but that's just who I am. But that's the way I get exactly what I want, and I'm happy when I get it.
No,
that was a no-brainer.
Way, man. I'll research and research and research. No matter how much I know about the gun already, I'm still going to spend the time and research and find the best price I can find and find exactly what I want.
So you say you don't have an AK. What are you looking at in that department? Anything?
Well, I've been looking at Arsenal. That was one that he highly recommended, was Arsenal. Or if I can spend the money to go with a couple other different companies that are actually a U.S. company, which I'm not opposed to. But I don't know. I just can't make up my mind. It's a tough decision.
I'll tell you one that's I'm really starting to think about. Maybe that's the one I'm going to end up getting is Palmetto State Armory's AK. That what a PSAK.
Yeah, they call it the PS AK-47 is pretty much what they
Yep.
call it.
Yep. I've AK Operators Union put 5,000 rounds through one, and and you know what the hell they do with AKs? They beat them to death, and it passed. It went through 5,000 rounds with them, and all the stuff they put one through. So now that to me is puts it up there in a qualifying buy list. It's a bit cheaper, and you can get a blemished one for $4.99. So I don't think you're going to go wrong there. But AKs are like everything else, though, that comes to the U.S. market. After a certain point, all you're paying for is aesthetics and a name, not functionality. Functionality stops at a certain point. After that point, it's all aesthetics and name. Where is that point when it comes to AK-47s? That's the issue I'm coming up with right now. Where is that deadline, that stoppage, where you're just paying for the name instead of functionality? I don't mind paying for functionality. I don't want to pay an arm and a leg just for the name of the gun.
Yeah, and that's a very good point. I'm not one that wants to pay tons of money for just a name. Kimber is a prime example. Kimber is just a name. They do a lot of fancy ass crap and say they do all this stuff that makes the gun a lot better and operate better, this, that, the other. Honestly, over the years, I've sent more Kimbers back for repair than any other 1911, including Rock Island Armory.
I like Rock Island. I have always liked Rock Island. They put out some solid pistols.
They make quality pistols. They know what they're doing. Yeah, they're from the Philippines, but they make quality pistols.
I mean, I am actually debating on getting a Rock Island in 10 millimeter, and it's rough for me to get something made out of the Philippines, but at least it's not made in Turkey. It could be worse,
Well, I'll tell you about that Turkish gun. That SAR that I own is a Turkish gun, so it was literally made in Turkey.
Well, and I'm not saying that they don't make decent running guns. They make some good running guns. They know how to make firearms over there, but I'm just not willing to contribute to that country.
Well, and I understand that, and I understand the reasons why. But my rationale is like this. Yes, those guns do those countries over there that produce firearms, Turkey included, do support terrorism. There's no doubt about it. That's fact. That's it. Anybody that says that they don't needs to do a little research, and they will find the truth. The gun's already in the United States when you get your hands on it. Your money's not going to that. What your money's going to is the people who's selling it to you and the people that brought it in here. What they do with that money is their business. But that's how I rationalize it. And maybe that's just a crazy way of doing it. But I like the gun. So But going back to what we were talking about earlier, not paying for a name, you was asking me why I decided to go with the 2022 for the same reason that I'm not willing to pay that $1,000 for just a name. 2022 is a SIG, but it's a hell of a lot cheaper than the $1,000 SIGs that's out there. You can pick up 2022 for less than $500.
It's a very quality firearm,
and it's a good gun. That's all I care about. Is it going to go bang when I pull the trigger? That's it. If I need it to save my life, will it save my life? Absolutely. Now, with that being said, I also want a 320. Drop safe or not, still want one. I've wanted one since they came out.
The whole drop safe thing really pissed me off. And it pissed me off because 99% of people that carry a fucking gun keep it in a holster where it locks in place and it ain't going anywhere. And unless you're the complete moron that actually drops your gun or throws it on the ground, the gun ain't going off, people.
Well, there's you might be, military cop, you're running, you drop your handgun out of your hand, and could that happen? Yes. What's the chances? Slim to none. Because especially military, chances are you're not running, unless you're EMP, you're not going to be running around with 320 hanging in your hand. You're going to have a M4. If you're a cop, you might have to pull your gun once in a lifetime, maybe. So,
and the whole reason that the 320 stuff came out was because some guy decided to take his gun and throw it in the ground. What moron does that?
Not me. Not me.
I'm sorry. I took my gun and I threw it in the snow, but that was just because I wanted to make sure it's going to function if I drop it in the snow. I'm not going to throw it in the ground and make it smack the back of the gun and see if it still functions.
Yeah, I cringe watching Mac do his torture test on guns. I mean, it's just water, then sand, then mud.
Yeah, I threw my gun into the snow because I was testing the light and laser combo that another channel gave me a link to and gave me a discount code for. And so I wanted to see how well this thing would hold up. And I literally paid 30 cents for it. And I mounted it on my Beretta M9A3. And just for shits and giggles, I took it down to another YouTuber's place here in Ohio. And it was snowing, and it was a good amount of snow. I'm talking good 2.5 foot of snow, maybe more. And I just tossed it in there, and you should have seen his face. His face was like, dude, what the hell did you do? And his kid's face was even worse. and I picked that gun up. I let it sit there for about 20 seconds. And then I picked it up, and the slide would not rack. Literally, in that 20 seconds, it had frozen solid. However, the actual test I wanted was the light and laser. And the light and laser still functioned flawlessly. And within about 15 seconds, the slide melted to where I could actually rack the slide and function, and it shot perfectly, no issues.
That's the way to do it. Now, and before you folks decide to get all butthurt about what I said about cringing watching Military Arms Channel do those tests, I understand the principle behind those tests. I do. And I think those are tests that are practical and need to be done. You need to know that in case your firearm ever gets in those kind of situations, you need to know that it can function.
Well, I'm glad that he does them so that I don't have to.
Yeah, pretty much exactly where I was going.
I plan on doing a lot of torture testing. I'm not going to say similar to what Mac does because I want to do my own style of torture tests. But trust me, it's going to be very interesting, and it'll be pretty cool. I really want to see the guns that I carry on a daily basis. Are they going to work if I get in this particular situation?
Yeah, and that's that's like I said, and he'll tell you he says on his videos, well, this isn't a science based test. I mean, it is what it is, but you can get data points from those tests and make your own conclusions. And I watch them. I watch every one of them. I just, like I said, I cringe every time I see one go through that gauntlet because something's going to go wrong. And I think he's had one, maybe two that's went all the way through them without screwing up somewhere along the way.
Yeah, right around 2, I believe, that's made it.
So, and one was the Sphinx, wasn't it? One was a Sphinx, and I can't remember what the other one was.
The other one was a Beretta.
And I think a CZ went almost all the way through the PO7. Almost went all the way through it without screwing up. So that gun might end up on my buy list at some point too. So
yeah,
and I like CZ's designs. So
the gauntlet test is not a if it'll fail, it's a when it'll fail test. You're pretty much guaranteed that at some point it's going to fail. You're pushing a tool way past its abilities, and it's going to fail. It's just so rare that anything will make it all the way through, because it's pushing everything beyond its mechanical abilities.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, the tests that I have planned are pretty much going to do the same kind of thing, where it's going to push the limits of the gun, and that's what I want to see. I want to see how much these guns that I carry on a daily basis are going to actually be able to handle. If I get into a situation, will it be able to handle this particular thing? And it'll be interesting, and I'm okay with it. And if something happens, something happens. I'll deal.
Are you going to run those? Are you going to run those tests with just handguns, or are you going to go with rifles, shotguns?
I'm gonna do it all. I'm happy to put just about every gun I own through this test. I will tell you right now, I will not put my 870 Wingmaster through that test. And I can tell you right now, that gun has a lot of meaning to me, and there's no way in hell that's going through any kind of test.
Yeah, you can buy another one, put it through it.
Exactly. I'll pick up another 870 on the low that can go through that shit.
I'll tell you what I would like to see. I would like to see some old school guns go through tests like that. Like a Luger. I'd love to see a Luger go through a test like that. I'd hate to see the damage that it might incur, but I'd like to see the test done because back in the day, those things actually probably had to go through some rough crap, especially during wartime. So, what would be another one? An M1 Grand. I'd love to see an M1 go through those kind of tests, or M14. Just a battery of tests just to see exactly what the soldiers was going through with these weapons when they were put them to use.
It's very interesting stuff. There's another YouTuber out there that has done some kind of tests as well along the way, and he's a pretty cool guy too. Bad Jack JW. He's done a lot of different things with flour and other various ones, with different guns, and it's interesting just to see kind of what happens. It really is, and I'm okay with taking some of my guns and just having some fun and seeing what the hell happens.
Yep. Well, guys, we've been at this for longer than an hour and 30 minutes now, so we are going to call this one done. I would like to thank you both for showing up. Alan, you got anything to plug, buddy?
Just the hashtag CMAX and the U carrying for CMAX. That's the main thing right at the moment. There there has been a slight change with foreign and domestic. I'll let Scotsman elaborate on that if he wants to or not. And other than that, I don't really have anything on the books just because I've been a little preoccupied in real life. But thanks very much for sending out the link. Greatly appreciate it, Outlaw. Always a pleasure being with you. And keep the magazines loaded and one in the chamber.
Always do, brother. Including, and now I keep the 12 gauge loaded as well. Of course, I don't have one in the chamber of that. That ain't exactly safe. Scotsman, what you got, buddy?
Not a whole lot. Kind of, reiterate, check out the hashtag SafeCMax. I'm going to throw another one out there, hashtag Justin's Final Mission. Check out eBomi if you're not subscribed to eBomi. We do a lot of different things to raise money to help veterans and stop them committing suicide. So that one's always a huge one. We do that all the time throughout the year. And again, it's a $10 donation on those as well. And it puts you in there for winning for some awesome stuff. Right now, we're doing a youth giveaway. I reached out to CZ, I reached out to TriStar, and a few other companies, and we have a CZ 512 tactical that's being given away. We have a TriStar 20 gauge being given away, Beretta Neos being given away, and we got a whole lot of other stuff being donated to in that prize package too. And that's all going to be one big package. So that'll be pretty cool. And that's all about teaching the youth today about how to shoot, how to deal with firearms, what an actual firearm is, and what it's all about, and raising them the right way. So that's what that's about. And then if you guys have been watching Foreign and Domestic, Foreign and Domestic is actually going to be moving to Sunday nights. TR Prepper has relinquished the Sunday night chat to myself and Janice Gay. So we will be taking over the Sunday night chats.
When you get your name changed, we're all going to miss Janice Gay. We're going to miss Jan. we're just going to be stuck with Alan again.
He's still going to be called Janice Gay no matter what.
Oh, yeah. Well, that ain't
he can change his name back all he wants. It's still going to be in the description, Janice Gay.
Yeah, I could change the name to All Internal Tactical. It wouldn't matter. I'm still going to get called Jan.
Pretty much. Yeah, you're stuck with it. Well, that's okay. Thanks to Matt, I'm going to be stuck with Degenerous for as long as I've got a YouTube channel. And that is fine. Matilda can call me Degenerous. And by the way, it is hashtag Never Enough Ammo, aka Matilda. Remember that, Matilda.
But I would like to thank you for the invite. I'm sorry I was late again, but I thank you for the invite. Appreciate you having me on, man.
Hey, you know what? You're both welcome back anytime you want to come. I loved having you. It's been a good show. We've had some pretty good topics going on tonight. I want to say thank you to the audience. Thank you guys for sticking around for an hour and 39 minutes of this. You people must be extremely bored to hang around this long, but I do appreciate it. Guys, you all have a great night, a safe night, and we'll see you next time.